Hello, one and all, and welcome to Creative Spark, my YouTube show where I talk to cool people about the cool things that they are doing. With me today is somebody who, if you squint hard enough, looks a bit like the Statue of Liberty. Ryan from Verdigris Table.
I've been called much worse. I will take Lady Liberty. That'll be my drag name from here on out.
It's a solid drag name. There's gotta be a drag queen called Lady Liberty.
I'm sure, and I
At
bet she could beat me up
least
for the
one.
title. So
Some people have taken money to see that. So there you go.
I'm an ally. I can't fight drag queens unless they have it coming. I guess that's true equality.
You're not wrong. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm feeling good. Yeah. How you doing?
I'm good. This is definitely not the second time we've done this.
No, absolutely not. This is we did not have a rehearsal where everything went wrong. Maybe because I jinxed us. I'm not sure. It might have been me. I'll take the fall.
The gods are punishing us for our hubris. We revealed too many curtains, which is a joke just for us, because the first recording of our chat didn't have any sound. So
it did. There was definitely hubris. We went too deep into the meta.
We dug too deep and too greedily was the problem. Yes. So we're going to talk about your YouTube career. I'm losing my mind.
Sure.
Cast your mind back many years ago. Why did you decide to start a YouTube channel?
The reason I started the channel was actually twofold. One, I taught myself D&D as an adult. I did not. I still feel the need to apologize that I wasn't in Wisconsin in 1979, right? It's like any other hobby. It's like, I've been doing this for a decade. Sorry, I just started. Like, I don't know. I didn't have an older brother or like the cool kid around the corner. I was the nerdiest person I knew in the 80s, 90s. So I missed that wave. So I taught myself, and the first 30, 40 times I played D&D, I was running it and teaching it to rotating cast of my friends and friends of friends. So that didn't seem like a thing people could do.
Yeah.
Or like we're like acknowledging that was fun and easy to do, if not challenging. So I felt like that was the gap I could fill. I could come and be like, hey, yeah, you can do this. Start from zero. It's fine. You don't have to have been doing this since you were 12 years old to have an awesome time. And hey, guess what? There's also all these corollary benefits to carving out 3-4 hours a week to like spend time with people you love and not worry about profit.
Yep.
The other reason I just started the YouTube channel was because it terrified me, and I wanted to face that constellation of anxieties that came up with it.
Yeah. Does it still terrify you when you release new videos?
Some videos, some days. Yeah, it's amazing. I think the lesson is you can get used to anything. So now it's not agony to listen to my own voice, right? To like observe recordings of myself for hours and hours and like with the critical eye to like which take is the best or like which stupid word should I cut. So it is all a lot easier and more comfortable, and also the proficiency, the efficacy of it all. I would like to think I'm a little bit better at it than when I started.
Very, very fair. What weird things have you noticed about how you behave when you edit yourself? I'll give you my one first if you want. Mine's really strange.
Sure.
I blink out of time. When I blink,
what is that? Like 1-2?
When I go, yeah, that's how I blink.
Ooh, interesting.
It's very strange.
Huh? Like occasionally, or like all?
Not every single time, but far more often than I'm comfortable with.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know what that means, but filler words, which I go through phases of battling or not, like that's always an ordeal to address. That's why I use a script half the time. I am from New York. I am a mutt. I have a ton of things in my ancestry, but my name is Ryan Doyle, so I claim Irish as my the majority of my background Scottish, but I grew up around a lot of Italians and Jews, and just New York is hands. Everything is emphasis is hands, whatever. So early on, like I knew I was doing that. I come from a place where this is normal. The idea of watching yourself do it and like emphasize every word, and I've definitely gotten comments, not a ton, but like if you exist on the internet, people are going to come at you for things you didn't even know were things.
Yeah.
So there was a time when I tried to de-emphasize it. Now there was a short bit where I like leaned into it. I was like, whatever, fine. Here you go. If what I'm saying is boring, like look over here,
Hands
whatever. And now I've just accepted it. Like if you think it looks weird, sorry about it. It's me.
Very, very fair. How did you land on your name? Not Ryan. Just so we're clear.
Yeah, I didn't have much say in that first one, but I did decide to keep it. The Verdigris table, again, is a twofer. We started playing D&D around this old IKEA table that was beat up, so I had painted it a Verdigris color, like a copper patina color. The other thing is just like, I love tables. I wrote a book full of tables. The Patreon is full of tables. I like the emergent aspect of playing when you're sitting down to the table, discovering what's going to happen, random encounters done right. There's a whole constellation of things that I use tables for. More or what is happening? Siri's yelling at me.
She's like, you don't use tables.
I don't know what just happened. I apologize. Siri's mad at me. That has never happened before. Where was I? Oh, so I decided that it was also a unique name, which is there's good and bad to that. I find it's not an easy word to spell, but there are many YouTube channels, and this one is mine.
I respect it. How did you first start off? How did you first start out choosing what to cover?
Very early on, I knew I wanted to do the tables. I thought I had stumbled upon a way to make exploration interesting, to make the world feel way more open-ended, but I didn't think starting there was too smart, which maybe it was in retrospect. So the very first videos I did were character creation, because that was the thing I was always teaching people anyway. So I figured if I made all of those, I could just send people a link instead of spending an hour with them going through their character. So I started with those. There's a people out there doing it better, and a lot of people who are interested in that sort of thing are looking for the best possible thing.
Yeah.
And I almost come at it from like there is no best possible thing. So now I'm more on the dungeon master side. That's where I'm comfortable in the game. That's where I think way more interesting aspects of the game itself and storytelling and even like game design we're flirting with now. So yeah, I'm firmly on the dungeon masters team, I guess.
Do you think there's enough content out there for players rather than instead of dungeon masters, or do you think it's skewed one way or the other?
It's a very interesting hobby. I mean, I guess the 80-20 principle applies like everywhere, but at any given table, 4 to 5 to 6 people are players, and one of them's the DM. So you would think that there would be 4 people watching player content for every 1 person watching DM content, but the person who's actually obsessed with the game and spending their free time researching, getting new ideas, stress testing those ideas is probably the dungeon master. So I do believe that is why a lot of content ends up in the dungeon master corner. I would also say part of it is that the powers that be are selling things to the players and maybe offering a little bit less support and asking a lot more of the dungeon master. So I also feel like there's a gap that needs to be filled there. More is asked of the DM and less is given to them. So that's where folks like us come in.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. How has your process for choosing videos changed as you've progressed as a channel and as a person?
And as a person, well, it's both right now. Or it's a very interesting time to be asking that. For the last, yes, time out. Hey, everybody,
This
I
is part of
win.
the video now.
This is why I came back.
Was he in the first one as well? Did you see him in the first one?
I don't think so. No.
He very rarely makes an appearance in these things because he knows that if he comes near me when I'm talking, I'll pick him up. This is Bo.
So
he's my YouTube.
Hey, Bo.
He's
Dolly is. Oh, that is your YouTube picture. I was gonna ask.
He's very anxious, but he's very.
He's purring.
Is that coming through?
It is.
Yeah, this is good content, right? I love you.
People love animals. My dog Dolly refuses to come in this room anymore. I think because I sit in here for hours and talk to myself, and she's like, I don't know what's going on there, but he's nuts. No more. Yep. She refuses to be exploited for views. What was I saying? What was the question?
The question was, sorry, cat. No. The question was about how your process has changed as you've progressed for picking videos.
Ooh, yeah. So the Verdigris table is in a transitional phase. I have leaned very hard into this, essentially. We joked last time about how I came here to sabotage your channel because there could only be one interview show. There are more than one of us. there are several of us. And man, it's a good time. I really enjoy just connecting with folks like you. I learn so much. I get so much out of it. It fills my cup in a lot of ways that, chasing the latest controversy does not.
Yeah.
So I've been doing a ton of that, and it has been really great for me personally. It's not amazing for the channel. The channel is fine, but growth has plateaued because there's not a ton of discoverability. You know me, or the folks I'm talking to, you're interested in what we have to say. You're going to love what we're doing, but not a lot of people are, typing my name into the Google search bar these days. So soon enough, I'm going to get back to form. The most popular things that I enjoy doing the most, like the overlap in that Venn diagram, is Dungeon Master adventure walkthroughs of hey, new person, you can do this. I'm going to walk you through step by step this actual published adventure that you're going to run. I'm not just going to read you the book. I'm going to assume you can read. I'm going to tell you the stumbling blocks, the pitfalls, the things you're going to have to think about before you sit down. Some of the things that might happen with the total acknowledgement that you can't plan for everything, and that's cool, not bad. So more of that is coming soon. I think I'm going to do a Saltmarsh campaign. I'm running Curse of Strahd right now as my goodbye to 5e. I have high hopes for this dragon book. I understand that they're probably misplaced, but when we're talking right now, there is a dragon anthology in the works coming out in a few months, and I have found, say what you will about WotC, grading on a curve, the anthologies tend to be some of my favorites. Some of the things that at my table I find the most useful because they're modular. There's a bunch of different voices and authors, so even if you don't love this chapter, the next one's completely different. Plus dragons. Come on, I love dragons.
We all love dragons. It's weird to be. It's not weird. You can be into Dungeons and Dragons without being into dragons, but it's in the name, so.
It's in the name. It's in the name. I keep petitioning all of us to be dragon tubers instead of dungeon tubers. It's not really catching on, but I'm still pushing.
I'd prefer that. Dungeon tuber could have other implications. So.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. It's just that is always going to beat out the SEO.
Yes, there's a very good Netflix show about the other kind of dungeon, actually. There's a home makeover show about them. It's very cool. Worth a watch. Anyway. As an aside. Do you talk about third-party books as well as the WotC official stuff?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, as one, I made one kind of. I am very much looking forward to having all of Draw Steel in my hand. I might play a Daggerheart campaign in a week or two.
Yeah.
I've run through Dolmenwood. There's an okay amount of Dolmenwood content. I might actually revisit that, but Old School Essentials. I've had a great time with Mothership. Mentioned that a little bit. and then in the 5e, like I did a run of Cobalt Press products. I played
Mm.
Pathfinder for a long time. That I don't know if Paizo counts as third party. Maybe that's party number 2 in the scheme of
Again,
things. I don't know.
again.
So yeah, absolutely. I have this personal. I think it's a hang up. I'm actually thinking about re-examining this whole thing, but I like to know something backwards and forwards before I am pontificating about
Yeah.
it on the internet as a talking head. So I don't love doing like flip through reviews. I love consuming them. Respect to people who are doing that.
Yeah.
I gain a lot from that, but I do like to have hands-on experience. I want to have run the thing multiple times before I'm like, hey, this is cool. And maybe that's not necessary. I don't know.
It's a lot of extra work.
Yeah, yes. Yeah. And I enjoy it, but yes, it does preclude me from talking about a lot of the things that I would be excited to talk about. So I think maybe I'm going to remove that limitation soon.
I very, very much respect that. At the time of chatting, and I think timeline wise, a couple of days ago, if you're watching this, the Crooked Moon will have come out on D&D Beyond, which is Legends of Avantris's book. Folk horror. Looks super, super cool. Very excited about that. That's why I ask about the third party stuff. I love the weird subclasses, items, and monsters that other designers bring into Dungeons and Dragons to let me torment my players with.
Especially with the experienced player, the grizzled veteran who's seen it all, and then like getting that like look of wonderment, childlike almost
so
back in their
good.
eye is always an accomplishment.
I ran a shambling mound against my Monday group, which is half veterans, half literally brand new players, the first ever campaign. And one of the veteran players hit it with a fire attack, which is resistant to, because it's resistant to cold and fire. And then describing why it was just resistant, I explained how like water burst out of where it was hit and kind of put the flame out immediately. And then another player was like, oh, okay, cool. I'm going to chuck my lightning spear at it. I was like, yeah. I was like, you watch as it regrows because of the lightning damage you've done to it. And he's like, oh no. And I'm like, this was fun. More monsters should have like healing stuff from player attacks. It's so much fun.
We don't use, there's so many damage types and they're so often totally irrelevant.
Yeah.
All my homebrew stuff, like I will put in immunities and resistances and vulnerabilities.
Yeah.
There's actually a shambling mound in one of my, I don't know if it's the swamp encounters or the actual adventure in that I set in there, but I have a shambling mound with a javelin of lightning like embedded in it as like a lightning rod almost.
That's so cool.
So when it drops something, this like high CR thing, drops a magic item. But two, it's kind of like the vestigial leftovers of like how
Previous
it was made by
parties.
some Frankenstein
so
character, or yeah.
That's so good. Yeah, the lack of resistances and stuff is so strange. At some point, I'm going to make a homebrew based on a monster in a card game on mobile. I can't remember the name of it at the moment, but it gains resistance to the last damage type it was hit with, specifically. So complete immunity to the last type of attack that it was hit with, which is super fun.
That's a cool mechanic because I like anything that encourages variety, creativity, and like team synergy. There's not a ton of that in 5th edition where like it doesn't matter what you did unless it gives me advantage on my roll. Otherwise I'm not paying attention to your turn.
No,
I really like making people engaged in the other players' turns as well.
That's how it should be, ideally. Combat in D&D and any TTRPG is tricky because you need, as the DM, you need to set that stuff up because it doesn't happen on its own. But you also need your players to be willing to step away from the spotlight, which not all players want to.
And the opposite is true too. Some players don't want to be in the spotlight because it burns them. Pathfinder 2e, at least I have way more experience with that, does lend itself to more like synergistic play because there's a lot of like buffs and debuffs that don't stack, so you have to like diversify what you're doing, and it is not beholden on you, but it is definitely beneficial if you are paying attention to what the person before you or even after you is planning to do. And then I don't know. I think there's a natural version of that happens with like old school, like lower level play where it's like, all right, I know the wizard has 4 hit points. I'm paying attention to what happens to him. Like,
yeah, 100%. Low level players definitely encourages that more. A couple of weeks ago, one player used a unique feat to get another character to dash. The cleric used hold person on the big bad of this, and then the fighter that had dashed as its reaction sped over to this thing, rolled 2 points away of max damage on its crit, and just obliterated the thing it was hitting. And there's probably not going to be a cooler moment in that campaign than that moment, because it was just this, like, all of the players coming together is just a joy. And I think that's part of what Daggerheart's trying to do generally, right, with its systems, from what I've read.
Yeah, I haven't done the deep. Again, I'm always like hesitant to talk about things on the internet that I haven't like really sunk my teeth into.
I don't know anything.
But yes, I don't. I know it all. I think maybe it's like a weird know it all thing where it's just like I don't know everything, so I don't know a damn thing about it. Oh no, I did it. Does that count?
No, that doesn't count. That's fine.
Good. So far, I think am I still at 0?
Yeah. You're nailing it. You're doing wonderful.
Nice. Boom. I melted our audio last time by cursing too much. I told you folks, I'm from New York originally. I do believe Daggerheart has some mechanical incentives to that. And it's also kind of built into the spirit of the game. Yeah. I feel like the overlap of people who are critters, who are critical role stands, and playing that game is pretty close to 1-to-1. I don't think a lot of people are going to end up there from other TTRPGs. I think most folks who, at least in its early days, will see if it, takes over the industry like a tidal wave, which, hey, but I think a lot of people are trying to emulate that critical role player interaction, which is actually the secret sauce there. Everybody thinks it's Matt Mercer, and Matt Mercer is great, but the players are paying attention to what he's saying and what each other are saying and interacting with each other. So if you want to participate in a game like Critical Role, do that. Care about the other players at the table, the other characters, the NPCs, and it'll elevate things much more. You'll get a much better experience out of your DM. Do that.
Also, the best thing you can do as a DM 90% of the time is just shut up and let your players talk and RP and forge those bonds. And those are the sessions where you leave and they're like, great session, and you're like, I did literally nothing. But cool, thanks.
It does feel weird sometimes when you're like, I threw out all of my notes. I did none of the things I thought I was going to do.
I made myself dinner partway through the session. Like, I literally wasn't there. Great that you guys enjoyed it.
It's funny. My Tuesday game is in person, is at the game store. So there's like people coming and going. It's a much different atmosphere than like, just sitting around at your dining room table or online where there hopefully aren't distractions. He put in a coffee shop there now too. So I built into my Dungeon Master like toolkit. Like I will get up and use the bathroom the second I want them to talk about what their plan is going to be. I will go get a cup of coffee. Like I've actually integrated those breaks where like I just get up and leave it's like, you got to talk to each other because I'm not here anymore.
It's incredibly cool. It's a great way of doing it. How much do you feel like your experiences DMing influence the way that you make videos?
I mean, 1,000%, right? I try to speak from my own personal experience. Eventually, you get to this feedback loop point where you start to feel not nervous. I don't even know, but you want to make sure that you are actually like applying the lessons. Like you're out there like preaching some sort of technique, and then you can't just like go to your game and phone it in even if you're exhausted because you were up all night making videos or whatever. So there is a feedback loop to that, but at the end of the day I think you can only speak to your own experience or maybe you're just like rehashing things that have been said 100 times.
There's a lot of
But
stuff that's been said.
there's a
To be
lot of
fair.
stuff that's been said. There's a lot of stuff that's been said, and I think I've definitely. I don't think I've broken a ton of new ground. I think I just all we can do is give our version of the thing.
Yeah, it's very hard to break new ground. I think this is a real challenge as a dragon tuber, is to try to come out with something that's original is very hard, because there are plenty of original concepts when it comes to game design, for example. But in terms of what you're going to be doing videos about, it's very, very hard to break new ground, as you said, because there's so much good advice on YouTube. There's so much bad advice on YouTube too, but hopefully you're watching the good stuff and not the bad stuff. But like, if you've watched Matt Colville's library of videos, you're ready statistically to DM, right? And maybe fight God.
I will say, if you've watched 0 videos, you're ready to DM.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to, because I think part of it is that this game is 17 games held together with duct tape and bubblegum. Also, and because of that, there's very different ways to play this game. So what is good advice for you, you may not know until you've actually taken it for a test drive.
Yeah.
And what's good advice for your table today might be bad advice for a different group of players a couple of years from now, in a different campaign setting, adventure tone, whatever. It is a moving target, which is why I think there is such a diversity of voices in this space, and 2, diversity of ideas with a ton of overlap. But I do think there's a definite pipeline from like Dungeon Master, Dragon Tuber, game designer. It's and a lot of Dungeon Masters I think skip the YouTuber part and go straight to. It's the difference between a collection of house rules.
That looks like
just,
a pancake stack.
Which I'm here for. I mean, like, I'm currently building like a travel system. I'm currently working on like another book that's going to be mostly tables, but like have a more like oracle sort of bent to it, like more systematic. I think a couple different ways to implicitly use it and explicitly use it. So yeah, you start making your own stuff. I think that is the best way. If you're sitting there like, what do I do next? I don't know, what's missing? What do you need? Make your version of it. And if you like it, there's probably some other folks who are going to be playing the game in a similar way to you who are also going to get a lot out of that.
What do you see your channel becoming over the next few years?
It's a great question. I kind of reassess every like 6 months or so. I used to have a much longer term plan, and I still do for the creative side of Verdigris Table. Like, I know what the next 2, 3, big projects are off the YouTube. The channel is going to get a little more back to basics. I do really like meeting the people coming in from the cold. I don't know, for the first time, right? Like, they're going to put out the starter set. It might cost them $200 because of tariffs and whatever. As much as like I'm willing to have that conversation, and I do every Friday with whoever wants to on Landlocked Warlocks, I'm worried about the new person who picks up that box, types in D&D into Google, and gets videos about whatever the latest Hasbro stockholder meeting notes are, whatever, the drama. And that's very successful, and people are very interested in that. And I cannot help but look away as much as I try to sometimes, but it's exhausting, and I'm not making videos about it anymore. I'm not chasing the news. I much rather have the new unspoiled person come in and be like, "Hey, this is cool. You want a little taste? Let's get started here." And I will hold your hand and walk you down like your first couple steps of this journey, and then maybe set you loose and say like, "Okay, yeah, there's way more to the D&D, and there's way cool stuff." But popular posture of people who are advocates for checking out other games often at least sounds like you're bad for liking Dungeons and Dragons, and that is a non-starter for someone who just discovers this hobby
Yeah.
and is having a good time. Apparently,
Yeah.
these people who are saying other games are cool are looking for things that I'm not looking for because I'm having a really good time here. So meeting people where they are, and I do believe, as much as whatever, it's been a rocky road the last year or three.
Yeah.
uh, I think there is a new wave of folks coming with this new edition out, especially when the new starter set hits.
Yeah.
I think there's got to be a lot of friendly faces who are looking for a little assistance, and I get a lot of joy out of that. That makes me feel the most helpful.
Very fair. What about for your game design? What do you see that doing as you go forwards?
I am resisting every urge to make the one system to roll them all, right? Like the fantasy heartbreaker.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that term is antiquated now because people are having a ton of success. They're not breaking hearts automatically anymore. But I still see myself as making supplements. Some of them are system agnostic. Some of them are more like adventures, modules, you could say. I feel way more comfortable there because in some ways, having played a lot of different systems in the last few years, it's made me realize how the rules are kind of secondary in a lot of ways. Like I've kind of like seen through the matrix, and a good rule set is incredible, functions very well. And I gravitate more towards like rules light stuff. It's funny. I used to be much more crunchy. I wanted the answer to be in the book. Now I'm like, we don't need a book, So I do see that trend continuing. I do see like the next thing I'm making is system agnostic. I want you to be able to take these ideas, these concepts, and like carry them with you into whatever game you're playing, even if it's not out yet.
Yeah. That makes sense. Is there an ideal balance between game design and YouTubing for you?
It's interesting. I haven't found it yet. It's one, they feed off each other, but they also get in the way of each other. There's only so many hours in the day.
Yeah.
I recently have found just the way my mentality works. I like to load up. So the game design stuff is more likely to pay the bills, right? YouTube keeps the lights on, and that's about it. But like, and I'm very grateful for that, right? Like, I am very grateful for that. The game design stuff is what's going to drive the business or whatever. The Verdigris table is this hobby that I write off on my taxes. The channel though is the thing where if I stop doing it, people knock on my door. Like there's an expectation set. There's a schedule. Once a week, twice a week, the video's got to go up. So I have found if I can load up the channel so that I have a month of content scheduled, I can breathe and not pay attention to that at all, and kind of like clear out that side of my brain to devote fully to creative projects. I'm doing both at once a lot of the time, but I get way much more done on the creative side when that is all I am focused on.
Yeah. Apparently the heavens have opened above me.
Oh, dear.
Always fun. Is there anything at all that you would like to plug?
I wrote a book, The Game Master's Compendium of Explosive Creation, available on Drive-Thru RPG. It's designed to make cool characters with bullet points for backstories instead of novels that interconnect to Dungeon Master's world building, whether or not it's adopting existing pre-published adventure or you're doing some homebrew. So every 2-page spread is built around a character background, a character archetype. 1 page is for the player to get motivations, potential growth, character arcs, NPCs and factions that they have a relationship with, magic items, which is some people's favorite part. And then the Dungeon Master has, antagonistic factions, NPCs, monsters, locations, and then just a whole bucket of plot hooks so that in a perfect world, the player and the game master are on the same page. Everybody cares about everybody else's creations instead of like, I wrote this whole adventure. Oh, cool. I wrote this whole story that has nothing to do with your adventure. Can you insert my, orphaned sob story into your grand narrative, please and thank you. And also, I have cool superpowers that aren't in the book.
Yeah. It's a tricky balance, but it's worth doing. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much for not coming on once but twice, despite how it's going to look on YouTube. We're going to wave at the camera, and that's going to be that. You ready?
I think so.
Okay, I believe in you.